Hey, welcome back. So glad you guys are here. If you are new to my channel, welcome, welcome. I'm sure we're going to be best friends in no time at all. And if you've already been subscribed, that's great. Keep on subscribing. We are doing another meal prep today, and we're going to do an easy meal prep. And today I'm going to show you how I come up with my meal prep plans so that I use everything up and have very minimal waste. So if that interests you, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and scooch on over and hit that bell icon and tell me what you're meal prepping this week. So mine is going to be super simple and we're going to get into it. Let me show you what we're going to do. I have already cooked some of my russet potatoes. They were slightly kind of going, so I cooked them so that I could just make air fried potatoes whenever I want. So that's already cooked. And again, I just do mine in the Instant Pot, depending on how big they are. 15-16 minutes, and then I let them cool, put them in the fridge, and then whenever I want potatoes of any sort to go with a 50-50 plate, I've got them ready to go. The other thing that I'm super excited about is I finally found these. Can you see these? These are the purple sweet potatoes. I know you're like, Vicki-Lynne, those are white. And I said the same thing, only once you cook them, and these are my favorite, once you cook them, you see it, but they are actually, hang on, purple inside. They are sweet. Wash the skin and enjoy. Honestly, I cook them like low and slow, and then what you want to do is let them sit overnight in the fridge because they'll get that resistant starch that you want. And then you can just snack on them whenever you want. So again, they are hard to find, so good luck. I ordered mine online and they delivered to my home. It was pretty simple. The other thing we're going to talk about today is composting. And if you live in Chicago like I do, I actually just found out that you can basically compost for free. So all you need is some kind of container. This is a food grade container, and again, you just want it. You're not supposed to use any composting bags, and there'll be a list. I'll put the link for Chicago anyway, but you can check your own city, and basically you can put in your items to be composted, and then however often you want, once a week, I can go down to certain areas here in town that have the green compost, and I just dump it, bring it back, and keep filling it up. And that's actually free. So I know a lot of places, like back home in Ontario, we have a lot of composting that's free. Here, for the longest time, I thought I had to pay for it, and then I found out that I can actually go and compost for free. So that is what we are doing. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make a soup. And so I have these grape tomatoes that have seen a better days. So I've decided I'm going to roast them and I'm going to make a soup with them. And you know how I feel about my little snack box. So I have taken whatever's been left over from my snack box. I have some carrots, some celery, the sugar snap peas. I'm still going to snack on those, but I'm going to refill up my snackle box, and I'm going to use these items to put in my soup. So I took out some of my broth because I had that in the freezer, and then I just grabbed everything that kind of needed to be used, and we're going to use them. Also going to do a salad dressing. Haven't decided if I'm going to do a ranch or if I'm going to do a Caesar, but we are going to do that. I'm going to replenish my snackle box. And then I also have some peppers that need to get used. And I think what I'm going to do with these is slice them up, cook them with the potatoes or in a frying pan with some onions. I have some cebolla onions that also have to get used. And again, so I'm going to cut off and use whatever I can. The rest is going to go in my compost. So this kind of makes me feel so much better that I'm not wasting. And then I'll decide when I'm making the soup. I also took out some edamame or soybeans. I make my own. And I try to eat about 1/4 cup or 1/2 cup a day. They really help if you're menopausal. They really help with your menopause and your hot flashes and stuff. So I'm going to add that to our soup, and that'll be a protein in there. and then I'll see what else I have that I want to add to it. So let's get cracking. So I'm going to put our tomatoes on the pan, just make sure they're all okay. And again, these tomatoes are perfect for just roasting because they're still good. And I actually have a tomato that's not all the best, but I'm going to cut off the yucky part. And that I can put also in my compost. So if you're using your compost, obviously anything that has like metal or whatever, you don't want to put that in there. All right, so then I'm just going to put a little bit of garlic powder on these, or granulated garlic. And then we're going to, and a little bit of oregano, kind of going with an Italian theme, I guess. There we go. So now we're going to roast those in our oven until they kind of like burst and they get soft and delicious. All right, I'm going to prep my veggies for the soup and for my snack box. So I'm just going to cut off the ends, and of course, you know, that's going to go in my stockpile. And time to make some more soup. We're going to give this a rinse, get all that dirt out. All right, so I've just finished chopping up my celery. I love my bench scraper. Such a great thing. And then I'm also going to do some more onion. I know I have onion, a couple of them roasting, but I'm going to use a little bit of this white onion because we want our soup to be flavorful. Again, I also like this. I don't know if you've ever seen these, but they're great for keeping half an onion or whatever. Doesn't smell up your fridge. And again, those are going, peels are going into the composting. We're going to saute those down. I am doing a carrot, top and bottom. Also going to go into my soup container. Just going to peel it. So once I get everything going for this, I'm going to put my stock on so that gets used. And again, I just keep reusing the same bag in my freezer. Now I'm going to do the carrots that I have left over. And then I'm going to do new carrots. And again, I like mine chunky. You can do it however you want. I am going to blend the tomatoes with some of the broth. Now you could use this, I call it like empty the fridge out soup, but you could use this and still use it for preloading if you want, because the soybeans don't have a lot of calories. So preloading on the starch solution is when you have a side salad, a piece of fruit, or a side salad, some soup, or a piece of fruit before you start eating, and that will take up some of the room, obviously, in your stomach, so that other part of your meal that's more calorie dense than being low calorie, you won't consume as much. So now I'm going to use this to make my carrot sticks. So this is what we're going to put to start our soup with. So I'm going to put that aside. And then I have some peppers that I need to use up. So I am actually going to slice them and clean them. And again, the inner parts goes into the composting pile. And I'm going to dice these because I'm going to also fry up some onions and the peppers to add to my breakfast potatoes. I've already made my cheese sauce, and I made some date caramel. If you've been here before, I have recipes. I'll attach those down below. Again, I'm gonna put those in my snack box for snacking. This is for our soup. This is gonna be for our breakfast potatoes. And then look at that. Our snack box is all set up, and I already have hummus in the fridge, so we are all set to go. The next thing I'm going to do is my ranch dressing, and I love ranch, and so Now we've made it healthier. Now I'm going to use hemp seeds today. You could also use any kind of cannelli bean or any bean if you want. So in here I'm going to put in my hemp seeds, my plant-based milk. This comes together very quickly. I have some fresh dill, but of course you could use dry dill. Either way, it'll be delicious. And then some parsley. I always roast my garlic a lot of the time, so I'm just going to pop out a couple of bulbs and add them into my blending cup. And I think that's like 3, however many you want. I'm going to add just a pinch of salt. I'm just using my little blender cup because I am going to use my Vitamix to puree the tomatoes and everything. You could also use some silken tofu if you want it high protein and less fat. You know what I forgot? My lemon juice. Then we're just going to add the juice of like half a lemon. We'll see how juicy they are. About a tablespoon, usually half is usually about a tablespoon. Now our dressing is all ready. We have our roasted tomatoes and cebollas. Just going to add them into the blender with all the juices, because that's where all the good stuff is. So if you're ever blending anything that's hot, make sure that the opening is open so that the heat can come out. And we're just going to give this a quick blend. Perfect. Okay, we have this pot that's going to be for our soup, and this is going to be for our breakfast potatoes. I'm going to put some water in to water saute all my vegetables. This is for the soup. And of course you could do this in your Instant Pot or whatever. And then this is for our breakfast potatoes. We're just going to saute those. So I've added some grated garlic in here, some fresh. And we're just going to let this cook down just a little bit more. Meanwhile, over here, we are still browning our vegetables. And again, when you're water sauteing, you just want to add a little bit just to kind of deglaze the pan at a time. We don't want to steam our vegetables. We actually want them to brown. So we're going to keep that going. We are going to add in our stock. We're going to add in our blended tomatoes. I'm also going to add in the edamame, or the soybeans. And then we're going to need some salt and pepper. I'm going to add in some basil and oregano. We're going to bring that up to a boil, and we're going to let that cook down a little bit. And again, you can put whatever you have in your fridge available. I'm just trying to use up everything. I've got some little shells. I am going to add some shells later. We're going to add in our potatoes. And then you're going to want to season them however you like. So, pepper. Now, if you're no salt, don't put salt in here. I like a little bit of pink Himalayan salt. A little bit of garlic. And I'm going to put in a little bit of smoked paprika. And just keep adding a little bit of water just to make sure nothing burns. And we're all set to go. We're going to let this simmer down and cook. I'm also going to add in some peas. I'm also going to put in some tomato paste just to kind of give it more depth of flavor. And again, once I open a can, I always freeze it so I can just use as much or as little as I want. Now I'm just going to add in some of my shells. Not too many, we just want a little bit. We're going to cook this for about 5-10 minutes. And we are ready. Now, if I had frozen spinach, I would definitely put frozen spinach in here, but I don't have any, so I can't. Well, my friends, we are at the end of another great whole food, plant-based, oil-free, delicious meal prep to help you accelerate your weight loss. I would say that this is more of a maximum weight loss if you're following the Starch Solution. And again, we have our dressing, we have our cheese sauce. I made date caramel. We have our munchies all ready to go. We've got a soup and we've got our breakfast potatoes. That is a lot. And then we also have other potatoes that are already cooked, so we can do our 50-50 plates that way. And if there's anything I can help you with, or if you're looking for me to do something different, let me know. Leave me some comments down below. What would you like to see me do? Is there any kind of foods that you need help cooking? Anything like that? I welcome all the comments. I really appreciate you guys sticking through. And don't forget, hit that subscribe button and scooch on over and hit that bell icon. We'll see you guys in the next one.